Hello everyone and welcome back for another video this week. I have with me this handsome young man, also known as my fiance, who will be answering some questions that were submitted by you guys. And we have our little co-star here, Ezra. Finally joining the videos because he's obsessed with Blake. So we're just going to answer some questions that were submitted by you guys. Well, he's going to answer them. I'm going to sit here and listen to his answers. So, first, we're going to start with, were you ever upset at Libby for leaving for 6 entire months for treatment across the country?
No.
How did it make you feel not having your significant other here for that long, though?
I mean, it was different, but it was fine.
Okay. What is something that the eating disorder took from your guys' relationship?
We stopped going out with our friends. No more date nights.
I feel like it caused a lot of isolation.
Yeah?
What? Kinda sucks. And then, what is a piece of advice for someone dealing with a loved one with an eating disorder?
Patience. Just be patient.
I agree. I think he doesn't realize how much patience he actually has, especially this last year. Have you ever actually cried over what Libby has done to herself with her eating?
At least once, probably.
Okay. Do you see any change this time around with her coming home from treatment versus the other times?
I think it's too early.
Okay. What is one thing that you thought Libby could have done differently?
I mean, hindsight's 20/20. He could have done a lot of things differently. You know?
Just a little.
Kept going to your appointments like you were supposed to, being honest with me or anyone around you if you were eating or not, talking to your support system. I mean, there's a million ones to that. It's not really a fair question because, you know, if you make a mistake and then someone says, well, what could you have done better? Well, just not make that mistake. I mean, it's not really a fair question, I think, for people to ask because it doesn't help in any way.
Yeah. What is a warning sign of relapse that you noticed?
What do you mean?
Like with me, you notice me going back into patterns. What are some things that I do?
It's losing weight's noticeable. It's really easy to tell when you turn into a skeleton.
That is a very good point. Have you ever thought about leaving Libby because of her eating disorder?
Yes and no. I don't think it was like, it was more or less I said we're not going to get married unless you're healthy. I don't know if that counts as leaving you. But like,
No, I think that's setting a healthy boundary because you don't want to marry someone who you don't know is going to get their crap together.
you know, it's just, I don't know.
Which is true. Do you think Libby ever pushed her eating disorder onto you?
All the time. And our dog.
How so?
You try to control what I eat, when I want to eat, how I want to eat, what I want to eat. It's like, no, it's my life. I'll make my own decisions. You know, I can eat what I want and what I want. And then you try to like make it so our dog was barely eating for a while, and the vet was like, hey, he lost way too much weight. You know, it's just trying to control everyone else around you.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is when you're so hungry and starving and just cranky, you push it onto the people around you that you're the most comfortable with. What does not make an excuse for it. But yeah. Okay. And then we have, let's see,
can see the list. I don't think there's...
What? Were you impressed or okay with the treatment center Libby went to out of state?
I think it was much better than the one in our state, but I don't think it's fair for me to... I mean, between the two, it was obviously better, but there could have been better out there. You know, only having two things to compare it to. I don't know.
I mean, going with that, do you think the treatment center I went to in-state, which was inpatient, not residential like the one out of state, but like, do you think it was helpful at all?
For you, no. But part of that was on you, not necessarily the treatment.
Well, yeah. I think in that circumstance, it was a bit of both, because the center wasn't the inpatient wasn't the best, but then also my mindset wasn't the best. So I think it was a little bit of...
I think it was a lot of bit of both.
Yeah, which is true.
It wasn't a very good... maybe it's a good one. I think a lot of it was on you. You just didn't want it to work.
Okay. Well, what about fighting? Was there a lot of fighting involved because of my eating disorder?
I don't know. Probably. I just ignored it most of the time.
Yeah. I think it causes... I think especially like with me since I wasn't being open and honest about my eating disorder, it caused a lot of tension because obviously like he's told me this, but like he knew I was lying about everything, but I thought he didn't know. I thought I was being a smart butt, and it caused a lot of tension and a lot of just distress in the relationship. But yeah.
He's so cute.
And then one last question. Well, two. Do you think that Libby can stand recovery?
Yeah, obviously I do. Otherwise I wouldn't be here.
True. And then our last question. This is the hardest. Who do you love more, Libby or Ezra?
Plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth? What do you think, buddy? Should we allow that? He says yes. Well, thank you for watching. Keep an eye out for my weekly videos. Next one in the series for next week of this I Am Libby series. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe and love you all.